Thank you very much for joining us here on PM Express. Tonight, I am delighted to bring you an exclusive interview, his very first formal interview. Since he was elevated, yes, he was once a deputy finance minister. When the party lost power, he was appointed as the party's spokesperson on finance, ranking member on the finance committee. And then very recently, it took a lot of people by surprise when he became the minority leader. I am delighted to say that my guest tonight for PM Express is Dr. Cassiel Ato Forson. Doc, thank you very much.
Thank you, Evans,
for joining us on PM Express.
Thank you.
And congratulations are in order.
Thank you.
This is your second formal official day in the job.
Exactly.
How has it been?
I think it's been good. Yesterday was excellent. Colleagues, obviously from my caucus, are happy to have us as new leadership. I've pledged to work with them with honesty and full of integrity. I believe the task ahead of us is to hold this government to account. Most importantly, to deal with the deteriorating nature of governance and to preserve our democracy by assuring the people of Ghana that we are in to work for them. I think that is the main crust, and there's nothing more and nothing less. We have also assured the majority, obviously the MPP side, that in as much as we are going to be resolute, firm, in all what you can describe in doing our job, obviously the oversight function of Parliament, we are not going to be needlessly obstructionist. The country first. But obviously, there are things that obviously we will differ from, particularly on policy. And when we strongly believe that things must be done right, we can assure you that we'll insist on that. And I've worked with them for years. I've been a member of Parliament for 14 years now and counting. And so people obviously know the position that I can lead. They can obviously understand. I mean, there are colleagues that have worked with them on the finance committee, on the other committees like foreign affairs committee. But a lot of people doesn't know that I'm a member of the foreign affairs committee.
You are?
Yes, because I'm heavily on the finance, so people don't see the other side. So I'm sure a lot of people know exactly what we can do to advance our democracy, our oversight, and to get
I'll come
to work.
Tap into what your vision is for the party in Parliament. But I'm curious. I mean, are you settled? Are you because everybody, even when you're promoted, the first few days you have jitters, even if you were gunning for it, and it comes finally. Are you settled? Are you calm?
I think one of my strongest point as a person is how quick I adapted to the situation. When we lost office in 2016, I went to work on the 6th of January to hand over. And then the 7th of January, I was made the ranking member of the finance committee. And my first press conference was the next day on the 8th of January. So I was ready from day one. And I've conscientized myself that positions are not possessions. You work in it, and anytime you can change it and move on.
Positions are not possessions.
Exactly. So and so I'm ready anytime to adapt at any point in time. And my political future is in the hands of God. Where God directs me is where I will go. And I will just make sure that wherever I find myself, I do just that. And I leave it to what the next opportunity.
I mean, viewers will probably notice that you have your picture in the background, which means you're doing an interview in your office as Member of Parliament for
Ejumako
and the ranking member.
Exactly.
So should we assume the next time we possibly host you on PM Express, it won't be from this office?
Exactly.
It will be in a different office.
Exactly.
Is it the previous office where Harun Idrisu occupies?
Yes. This is an office for myself as an MP and as a ranking member. So this is an office that befits my stature as a ranking member and as a member of Parliament, and who has been in Parliament for 4 terms. a lot of people don't believe that I've been around for some time.
14 years is a long time.
I've been around for some time. And as I said, parliamentary business is something that we are used to, and we've been doing it for years. I mean, if you are in a particular job for 14 years, you know your ropes. I don't know how many years you've been at Joy FM. 19. So
that's a long time.
It's a long time. And clearly, we are used to it, and we'll weather the storm.
Are you looking forward to a bigger office? I've been to Ghana many times. Big office as a conference room attached to it. You're looking forward to being comfortable in that?
It's not a comfort.
Okay.
It's what is required in that office. It is an office because you remember you are a minority leader, the leader of the largest opposition in parliament, okay? A parliament that is hung. And so you need to have a strong back office. And the offices you see there are largely for staff of the minority secretariat. So the conferences are where clearly people will come and see you for meetings. And today I've seen a petition from Beverages Association, and they want to see you, so they will come. Maybe they are 20 or 10 or something. You don't expect to have them in a small office, or you have it in that big office. So it is big for a reason. It is big for a reason that you will need it. And as I said, my office here currently is befitting for a ranking member, because you don't expect to have large back office, even though sometimes it's required. And you can imagine most of the presentations that I've done as a ranking member, I have to do it myself, generate graphs and all of that. So sometimes you need those back office to have some staff that can do that kind of job for you. But regardless, if you become a leader, you will not have the luxury of time to generate your own graphs, to have your own writings, and be able to do a lot more technical stuff that you used to do. So at that point, you will need some back office, and then that back office should be able to prepare you, and obviously also be able to do more than being a ranking member. So that is what it is. I've said so many times that one advantage of this stuff, these things we do, is the fact that if you are a leader and you have some competence in certain discipline, you will not be at the mercy of your technical people. Because whatever prepared, you will need to vet it yourself, understand it yourself, ask questions. And if it's wrong, they're human, they can get it wrong. Then you yourself will have to sit and probably do it. I write my own speeches, I make sure things are done to my taste and all of that. So there are times you can't do all of that, but you should have the competence to check all of those things.
Let me ask you, when were you told that, when did you learn that you're going to become a minor leader?
I was told the night before.
The night before, when the world knew?
Yes.
We knew in the morning. I think it was a Thursday morning.
Yes.
So you knew the Wednesday?
The Wednesday.
Okay.
So, and I mean, it's a decision that the party had made. So they were informing me, not for me to make a choice as to whether I am going to accept it or not to accept it. But I took it like a call to duty. And
did you see it coming?
No.
So this must have been a surprise to you, was it?
I was, really. In fact, it shook me by surprise. It took me by surprise. But what I've told you earlier, that I adapt so easily, and that's my biggest strength. And it doesn't take me more than a couple of minutes to adapt. So I sat back and said, hey.
That's interesting that you didn't see it coming.
I didn't see it coming.
This must have been a bolt from the blue for you.
Let me put it this way. If there is any person in this house who have worked so hard for Honorable Haruna and worked to him, I don't think there'll be two people more than me. Okay? My loyalty to him is unquestionable. I've loved him. In fact, I'm a product of his leadership, because he gave me room to work and to excel. It's not every leader who will give his rank an opportunity to excel that magnitude. So, and I work to him. I go to him every morning, sit him down, and brief him on a daily basis. First thing I do, I get to Parliament before 9, walk straight to his office. He will be there. We'll have our small meeting, brief him for the day, and then we disperse. Then he goes to the floor. So we have that cohesion. So when I was told, my first concern was, is he aware of it? And how will he feel? But Honorable Haruna knows that I've never wished for his job. But at a point in time, one person will have to stand up and do something for the caucus. So I happen to be the one to do it. And I think it's an honor for me to step in a very big shoe of my predecessor, the Honorable Haruna Idrisu.
Was it a phone call and a face-to-face meeting?
Oh, it's face-to-face meeting. Yes, face-to-face.
Should I guess that it was Asiru Ketia who called you?
Yes. The party as leadership. Yes.
And then told you, I mean, so when they called you, you were driving over, you're wondering, or you had a hint when you were driving?
No. It's a big decision. The party took a big decision. They believe it's a right decision. They think where we get into, they need a different general to take us to that kind of war. That's how I interpreted it. Honorable Haruna has done his bit and done it very well. His successes are out there for everybody to see.
You say you're a product of his leadership.
And clearly, time has come for a new general to step in the fight. I recognize that, and honestly, I take it as an opportunity to also step in and to lead the party.
Did you call him because you're
I called him immediately.
Okay.
I called him immediately. I was told as soon as I left the place, I placed a phone call to him. That
was he aware before you called?
I think he has also just been told that that has been done.
Did he give you a blessing immediately, or he was surprised?
As I said, me and Honorable Haruna, we are very close, and I don't think anything can come between us. I respect him so much. He respects me so much. So you can see pictures between the two of us and the body language and that kind of thing.
I mean, the census committee was the last one where you...
We are so close. I mean, we are brothers. He's my senior brother. He counsels me daily and that kind of thing. So it has to happen. It has happened.
I think I'm privileged in the sense that the night before the announcement, I had hosted him. So I was the last interview he did before he left, and then my first interview.
Yeah. So the Alpha and Omega.
The Alpha and Omega. And I remember that interview. Throughout the interview, I mean, Haruna was different. I interviewed him many times. He was different. He was more forthright about a lot of issues. And in the morning, he was gone. Of course, I had to send a message. I mean, I was surprised. No wonder you also were surprised at
one thing I always talk about anytime I meet Honorable Haruna is the way he can all of a sudden chew documents like this, and he needs no brief. You just give him a document, you chew it in seconds and go and pour it. And that's a bigger strength.
I mean, so were you surprised when the opposition started from some of your colleagues? I think a day or two after.
No.
Did that surprise you?
No, it doesn't.
Why?
It doesn't, because you see, you have a leader who is loved by the caucus, and his nature is likable. And I can assure you, if I was not the one that this position was offered to, probably, and I'm sure I would have been one of those shouting, because of the love we all have for him. Okay, so I don't take it personal. It's nothing for any of us to get worried about. It shows the love we have for him, our leader, and how loyal we are all to him. He's been in the position for 6 years. We are used to him. Okay, there are 95 NDC MPs who have seen no leader apart from him. For example, we have 50 plus of first-term MPs who have done only 2 years and they know him only. We have 40 plus who are doing their second term. They've done 6 years and they've known him only. So you can understand. And some of us, we are privileged to be here. For how many years? 14 years. I've seen the leadership of Honorable Bagben. I've seen the leadership of Honorable Kumbo, Honorable Avoka, and I've seen Honorable Haruna. So we can see different leadership, and we've seen it, emerging. Or we've seen leaders emerge, and we saw Honorable Haruna emerging, and his time came, we supported him, and all of that. So I don't think it's something that anybody
should. Do you bear any grudge against your colleagues who were...
Oh, no. I told you, it's not personal. No, as I can assure you, if it wasn't me and someone else, I may have done the same. Okay, and I may have maybe do worse and say that, hey, no way, it's not going to happen. But let's be aware that the party has the mandate to change leadership, because as we say, they are the coaches, and the coach knows which of the player can play a particular position at a particular point in time, who should captain us to a certain victory and who should be substituted. And if you're a football fan, this is sometimes somebody gets substituted, the person obviously that believes that he's the one to do it, but the coach sees something and brings someone in, and probably that person will be the one to score that important goal. So I see myself as the one that the party has to bring in as a new substitute to score the golden goal.
To be fair, none of the your colleagues who opposed it, none of it said it was because he didn't like you.
Yeah.
Everybody said, we like you. But they were concerned and had issues with the process.
Yes.
Do you agree that the process should have been more consultative?
Let me say that the party constitution gives the power to the party to appoint leadership. And I've been here for 14 years. I've seen leaders that are mentioned emerge. I was never consulted, never ever consulted. I've never had an input in the selection of a leader. So what has actually happened does not depart from what had happened in the past. However, I recognize that every system needs continuous improvement. Okay, so the party constitution, just like we are talking about the nation's constitution, the fact that it needs to be tweaked. So if the time has come for us to continuously improve on a system, there's nothing wrong with it.
You said the time has come now?
I think the Council of Elders made it a point as part of the engagement that the time has come for us to tweak the way our leadership appointment needs to be made. I've pledged to my colleagues as one of the legacies I would like to leave behind if I'm to move on is to work with the leadership of the party to ensure that we have a proper laid down framework in electing or appointing our leadership. That is my pledge to the caucus.
So I guess then that reconciliation has happened?
Oh yeah, you can see there's no issue. There is no, and you rightly said that no single NDC MP has an issue with me.
Yeah, they made that they took time to make the point.
Nobody. They know what I can do. They know my strength. They know my weakness, and they know what we can do together. Okay, and obviously, I hold no grudge against anybody because I know nobody holds a grudge against me. What is important now is for us to move into the direction of ensuring.
So all ranks closed.
Everything.
The vision is clear, proceeding forward.
Straight away.
Let us go to that next level then. So, what is Dr. Cassiel Ato Forson's priorities now for the next less than 2 years before the big day, December 7, 2024?
Okay, so let me put it this way. Governance in this country has gone to the dogs. Our country's economy is in bad shape. As we speak, the central bank has printed almost 50 billion Ghana cedis. Okay, breaching the Bank of Ghana's Act, Section 37 and 39 of the Bank of Ghana's Act as amended 2016. No one is talking about it. As a result of this, we've seen inflation moving to 54% plus, hyperinflation and counting. Monetary policy rate is now 28% and counting. We have seen clearly that as a result of what is happening, today, lending rate, some banks are lending in excess of 40%. What business will you do for you to be able to make revenue of 40%, profit of 40% for you to pay your debt? Unemployment is getting to levels that are becoming a national security concern. Our country's economy is simply in tatters. Let me put it this way, we are insolvent or bankrupt. As a result of that, 2 days ago, government of Ghana had to default in the payment of principal amounting to 4.2 billion Ghana cedis domestic bonds. First time it has ever happened in the history of Ghana. So everything is out of order. Our economy and our livelihood is in trouble. Debt exchange. Look at what is happening. Domestic debt exchange. I have cautioned that domestic debt restructuring is like a surgery. Don't do it when you are not sure of its impact. Because there are certain surgeries, you go and do it, you die. This is the kind of surgery that Ghana is doing, domestic debt exchange. I've heard the president begging virtually China to accept, to join the creditors committee and to give Ghana debt relief. Yeah. Eurobond holders are depressed because as far back as 18 January 2023, Ghana has defaulted because the coupons due we have failed to pay. As we speak, over 60 projects have to be put on hold. Contractors are laying off workers left, right, and center. It can only get unemployment worse. The banks are threatening to collapse. I'm hearing 17. At a point, I was talking of 5 banks. But from the document I have seen and what I've read, I'm so scared that 17 banks are going to go down. What is happening in this economy? 17 banks. Okay.
Will or have the potential to?
They are there, almost there, and
that's almost the entire banking sector.
Well, so it tells you that few of our banks are strong enough. The government doesn't seem to care. You are going through this major economic reform, so I won't call it reform. As a result of their own reckless borrowing, they've put this country into a bottomless pit. And as a result, they're taking this country through this very difficult pain. In spite of that, Parliament isn't aware of this. There's no single document before Parliament about all what is going on.
The Finance Ministry says in the 2023 budget, they inform Parliament.
Have you seen what is there? Have you seen what is there?
Doing a debt exchange.
It's not even a paragraph. It's a quarter of a paragraph saying that they are going to discuss some debt restructuring. Just a quarter of a paragraph. Today, what is happening here? It's incredible for them to think that that is an information. What they did, they only deceived the people of Ghana about what is happening. But let me tell you, yesterday we were successful in getting the Speaker to accept that the Minister of Finance must appear before us to at least give us a policy brief on Tuesday. So Tuesday, 10 o'clock, we expect the Minister of Finance to be here to tell us exactly what is going on.
But that will be after the fact, right?
But you see, it's better late than never. Okay, so that will be the beginning for us to unravel what is going on. Because you see, in one breath, we heard the minister saying the pension funds are not involved. But what constitutes a pension fund? Is that a person who has gone on retirement and has taken his money and invested in bonds? Or the person who is still at employment and contributing tier 2 and tier 3 and the bank is using the money to repay? Or the ordinary person who sits somewhere and say that I will take my money and I'll save for my future, also pension. So the definition of pension fund needs to be clear. In one breath, one is part, one is not part. So discriminatory. I don't think that is the way we have to go, because you are saving for your pension. Somebody else may decide to save for his pension through probably life insurance. Another person may decide to save for his pension through, tier 2 or tier 3. They are pension funds. So you cannot come out with a policy statement by picking and choosing. That is wrong.
I want to take a break. When I return, we'll talk more about the economy. I'm so curious about the invitation extended to the finance minister to appear. I mean, call it even a summon. I mean, what really will that achieve, considering that it's coming 2 days after the deadline now has been extended to Friday for the domestic election program? Of course, it still comes before the settlement date. Tuesday actually is a settlement date. It's a Valentine's Day. So I'm not sure what Parliament intends to achieve with that. I'll ask him about that. And then, so he will also lay out for me his plan, because basically his job is all geared towards 2024. And how is he going to deliver his own contribution towards the party's victory? Then I'm curious about that. He's in the position now where a lot of votes will be dependent on how successful he is in Parliament. Ultimately, every politician is judged by that. And so I'll pick his thoughts on that. Stay with me on PM Express. Thanks for staying with us. My guest tonight is a man who just recently became the NDC, the biggest opposition party in Ghana, their leader in parliament. He's told us already that when he was told, it shook him. And no wonder it took almost everybody else by surprise, including himself. We're having a chat with Dr. Cassiel Ato Forson. Doc, before we went for the break, and I'll come to that substantively. I remember sitting there saying one of the reasons they wanted you because of the difficult economic times and because of your skill in the economy. And so we'll discuss, I mean, how that would help the party's cause going into 2024. But on the subject of economy, on your very first day, normally on the first days of when Parliament returns, this is about pleasantries and little talk on the floor, and then people go back because the room is even empty. But on the very first day, business was up and running, including securing a summon of the finance minister. You've explained that because of the domestic that he has to come and explain. But I'm curious, what do you want to gain with him coming to explain, especially when he's coming on the day of the settlement of the domestic election on the Valentine's Day? Would that change anything for the millions out there who definitely are desperate for somebody to intervene on their behalf?
Evans, it has to change something. It has to change something for a number of reasons. One, the budget as approved, we appropriated for the minister responsible for finance an amount for the minister to use to service our domestic debt. The minister cannot unilaterally, after Parliament approving that kind of money, decide not to pay those debts as and when they fall due. So, for example, on the 6th, we have appropriated for you. So the Appropriations Act gives you a backing for you to pay, and you have still defaulted in the payment of 4.2 billion Ghana cedis.
But that point you make is it's a grave one.
Yes, in what sense?
I mean, Parliament has already.
Yes,
the money is there.
It's there. We have appropriated for him,
and yet
he has failed to pay.
Has happened.
So he needs to give us an understanding why he's failing to do that. Again, in the same budget statement, we have appropriated for him to be able to pay for the Eurobonds and other foreign debt.
This year?
This year. So they are all in the budget.
But do we have the money? Or you can budget for something that you may not have it.
But has he informed us that he doesn't have the money? The budget was approved in December. We are only in February. So what has changed from December to February? In fact, he defaulted the first default was in January 18th. Yeah. So between December 31st, in fact, the budget has to take effect from 1st of January, 18 days, and you are breaching the budget already. So these are the concerns that we believe the minister must appear before us. Again, most of these loans were approved by Parliament. The terms and conditions were approved, and you can check from the Constitution. The terms and conditions of these loans were approved by Parliament. The minister cannot unilaterally, vary those terms and conditions without coming to Parliament and seeking permission from us. He has done all of this without us.
So what are you expecting for me to come and seek permission? Because
no,
that's not what it is.
Okay, so as to he can come, not only brief, but to seek permission. Because he can't, he's restructuring Ghana's debt, not his personal debt.
But this ship has sailed. I mean, it's not.
Well, we'll see. Probably we can stop the ship midway. The sailing.
How?
Probably. Let's wait and see what will happen on Tuesday.
Sounds impossible.
Well, let's wait and see what will happen, because I believe that this debt restructuring must be crafted in such a way that certain individuals should be exempted.
Such as?
Individual bondholders and pensioners. And from day one, you will notice as part of my debate in the 2023 budget on the floor, you can go back to it, I had cautioned that pensioners must be ring-fenced in terms of the restructuring of this debt. And you can go back to countries where this has been done, and you see the exemptions that we are seeing. In one breath, the minister informed us that individuals are not part of it. The following week, the individuals are part of it. So you can see flip-flopping of policies. And there's a government that doesn't really plan before they take decisions. And this has been the modus operandi of this government. From 2017, they bring a policy today, the next week they remove it, bring another one. They are not ready for the job. Just not ready. And I think the time has come for us to confront this bad governance head on, for them to be aware that there are people out there that cares, and this country does not only belong to them. And so there's the need for us to put the brakes so that they don't put this country into a pit of no return. I think we care about that, and it's something that we will really work hard to ensure that we will not tolerate or countenance any more poor governance. That's something we are not going to
So the finance minister comes, you do the briefing, as you said, that you, in essence, want to make sure that the parliament, the people's representatives are briefed.
Yes.
So he does the Tuesday, and then we're suspecting closure.
Yes.
The settlement of this.
No, we don't suspect it. I think we are going to push for the speaker to refer the brief to a committee for us to start going into the details of it, because you see, as I said, he's not restructuring his own personal debt. He has, even if you are restructuring your own personal debt, you have your immediate family that you have to discuss with them, that this is what I'm in and what you have to do. You are talking of the Republic of Ghana, and the People's Representative Parliament doesn't seem to be aware of what is going to happen. After the budget was approved, this man went and sat somewhere, organized a press conference, and said to bilateral creditors, say that Yintumintuya. I mean, what is this?
We haven't paid since.
Yes, Yintumintuya. As we speak, Ghana has announced Yintumintuya. It's a problem.
But isn't the case of we just don't have the means to pay?
Why? Where's the revenue that they collect?
Where's the revenue? To paying salaries.
So, and what? And what? And somebody, and see, in the middle of you paying salaries, you are still recruiting. And yeah, adding. It's all over. I mean, they are. I'll give you some leads and go and look out for it. A lot. So you see, the government is insensitive. They don't care. Until we are. That's the kind of government we have, unfortunately, had over the years, in the last 6 years. So we need to find a way in addressing a government of this nature, stubborn nature. If they believe in this, regardless of the repercussion and public opinion, they think this is the way they will go, and nothing will stop them. I don't think it's good for governance. I don't think it's good for our country. It's time has come for us to look at it in perspective and address them.
I mean, Cassiel Ato, in explaining why the party chose you, made the point that the Times, obviously, they believe the economy is going to dominate the discussions going into next year's elections, and they believe you're the best person to lead the party going forward. You agree with him?
Yes, the economy will be the issue for the next 2 years or more. Obviously, we'll use the whole of this year. In fact, the debt restructuring we are talking about, after the domestic, we are now going to talk of Eurobonds. After Eurobonds, we are going to talk of the common framework, the J20. So the next 12 months is largely going to be on Eurobond, on debt restructuring. Okay, and we'll deal with its impact on the economy and largely individuals. For example, when we talk of the impact on debt restructuring on the banks, people are only looking at the impact that the domestic debt exchange will bring. No, some of the banks has heavily invested in Eurobonds. So the non-payment of Eurobonds are already eating the banks. Some of the banks actually has lent some money to government through commercial debt. So non-payment means others, means something else to the bank. Some of the banks have lent money to contractors. Government not failing to pay these contractors is having impact on the banks already. So we need to sit down, and that's why I believe that ministers coming to Parliament on Tuesday is crucial. The policy brief must be referred to the committee, and the committee will have to spend some time to look at the impact on the Ghanaian economy. Well, it's up to the speaker to make that judgment. But we believe that this matter is serious, it is big, and Ghanaians, particularly the representatives of the people of Ghana, must be given the opportunity to have input into a major policy of this magnitude.
Are you not concerned that the the Cassiel reason which you believe you ascribe to may pigeonhole you and make you focus almost exclusively on economy.
Oh no,
to the detriment of other key
no.
bits of
Okay, so economy is everything. The economy is your livelihood. The economy is certainly the water, the road, the food you eat, and everything. So the economy is everything, and that is why most economists are very round kind of people. Cocoa board. What is happening there is poor management of their finances. It goes back to the economy. Why is it that all of a sudden cocoa production has gone down so low? 600 and something thousand from 1 million over the period. It's agri-economics, and it's part of the economy. These are things that we need to look into and find out, deal with it as an institution. What is happening now? Our roads are in a bad shape. Already all the road contracts that Ghana has signed, we are seeing the contractors pulling out of sight. It is becoming a major danger. It's an economic issue. Economic growth is coming down, and down. If care is not taken, if we don't go on recession this year, we may end up going on recession next year, particularly non-oil GDP growth. If we ever, escape recession, it is because of extraction industry, because oil and gold may be doing well. But the non-oil GDP, certainly outside extractive industry, is going to go down because of what is happening. So it has impact everything. So economics is not only fiscal. But you have crime issues, security issues, legal issues. Yes. But you see, all come to your table. So let me put it this way. Why is crime going up? Because of the economy. If there's huge, it will be a factor. Yeah, but it's a major factor, because if there's a lot of unemployment, crime will go up. That's the social cost of bad economy. It goes up, and all of that get back in there. So we have to deal with the crime issue. I won't be the first economist ever to become a minority leader. J.H. Mensah happens to be the first economist to be a minority leader. I'm going to take inspiration. And then at one point he was also a finance minister. Yeah. And then he became a minority leader. That's very close to yours. Exactly. Are you going to take inspiration from him? I think one point he was also ranking member of the finance committee. Yeah. So, as to take inspiration from him, he did his bit. My style is different, but I'll do just that. And I can assure you, at the end of my 2 years, I'm sure the people of Ghana will be the ones to judge. Very briefly to your style. What's Dr. Ato Forson's style? Okay, I'm very principled. Okay, I don't change my positions when I firmly believe that is what the country needs, and it's something that no one. And I remember I was on your show one day and I said to you that not even Jesus Christ can change me on e-levy, because I firmly believe that's a bad policy. And nothing could change my position. My positions are my position, and I don't just take decisions after reading around it, convincing myself, bouncing off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people, and get convinced that this is the way the country needs to go. I don't change my position. And I can assure you that that kind of principles is what will carry us through the journey. Quickly, finally on economy, the IMF's executive board approval it's almost everything right now. The board sits in March. Are you confident that we can restructure in time? You see, board approval is one thing, implementation is another. And I get a bit worried when I hear the government say that they get a board approval and that's it. You can have board approval and the program will need to be suspended because implementation becomes a problem. Evans, our IMF program is poorly negotiated. Poorly. And I'm saying this for the first time on your show. Why? Poorly. Why do you say that? For example, look at Sri Lanka, where they are. They are debt to GDP. And how many years is going to take them for them to come back to sustainable limits? 2032. And they are not hitting it at 55. They are hitting it at around 63%, 65% of GDP. Fiscal adjustment is very important for Ghana to fiscally adjust and bring the country back to sustainable limit. But the key question is, how steep do you intend to decline? Okay, so you can climb a mountain in such a way that you won't even feel that you are climbing a mountain. It's smooth. Gradually you climb it. But it's so steep that if you climb it in such a way, you can end up falling. And people will end up dying and businesses will collapse and all that kind of thing. That is the kind of IMF program this government has negotiated. Because remember, on your show again, because your show is my favorite place that I come, I once said to you that if Ghana rushes in securing an IMF deal by December, we'll get a bad deal. And that's exactly what we've had. So the deal that we have, we may rush to get a board approval, but its implementation is going to be terribly tough. Terribly tough.
But do you even think that board approval in March is possible? Considering the challenges with domestic debt exchange that we are now about to begin.
I doubt.
China is hesitant to come to
I
the
doubt.
table.
You see, they need something they call finance and assurance from the Euro bond holders, external bond holders, and the bilateral. Remembering that multilateral loans are not restructurable. So loans owned to IMF, World Bank, Africa Development Bank are all not part of the restructured.
Unless they decide to forgive you.
Yes, so they are not restructurable. So the ones that are restructurable, you need what you call financing assurance. And what you need first is to finish with the domestic debt exchange for you to go and waive the paper at this Parish Club and others that I need financing assurances from you. And they have to write that we have agreed to go through debt exchange, whatever we have to do to give you that debt relief. The reason why our president is on his knees begging Germany to intervene to get China to be on the table is for them to get financing assurance. If China delays to be on the table, that financing assurance will not come that easily. And so they have to beg. And he will continue begging. And let me tell you, the Eurobonds one, they are yet to engage them to get a financing assurance. And so that two financing assurances that we need may take time. And the more it takes, the longer it takes, the longer you get IMF board approval. It will take a magic. Right? Our finance minister will come out with a quotation soon on that. But it would take more than a miracle for Ghana to be able to go to the board in March. But other than that, I suggest and I think that the second quarter, end of second quarter, is feasible.
Can Ghana survive till the second quarter?
Our main concern now is the reserves level.
Yeah, which is, yes, as of last week at the Monetary Policy Committee briefing, Bank of Ghana Governor net is just over 2 billion.
I'm hearing 2 weeks of import cover or less than 1 week of import cover. But yes, it could be, so because if you compute the 2 billion into weeks of import cover, it will give you about 2 weeks.
But that's
where we are.
Can we survive till the second quarter?
Does the government believes we'll survive? That's the bigger question we need to ask. Because the government is not working in such a way for this country to survive. In the middle of all of this, the government has not signaled that in as much as they are contributing or calling on ordinary people, bondholders, individuals, Germany, China, or other countries to contribute, they are not showing the way. They are not even engaging the people of Ghana properly.
How else can they show? They said they announced some adjustments in the budget.
What?
V8 not being used to.
Have you quantified this? By they using it, who is monitoring that? Who is monitoring that what they claim they are going to do in the budget? They are not doing it. They are doing them. And we know that they are doing that. So clearly the government doesn't think so. What we need to do is for us to have, and I've said this time and time, in fact, His Excellency John Mahama has said this, that Ghana needs a central-like approach where all of us comes together for us to have a Ghana program. Even the truth is, if I'm part of a group that I've crafted on behalf of the NDC, I'm part sent there for NDC to craft a policy for government, are you sure I would leave and come back and criticize it? No. If you have been invited as part of the media, representing the media, for you to have an engagement on this matter, what will you have done? You can't, because your views will be, you articulate them as and when you meet them, so that it will be included in the nation's program. As we speak, we don't have Ghana program, do we? We don't.
And very briefly, there's been a general call for government to reduce the size. Is this something you ascribe to?
I've said it publicly that an attempt to increase government ministers even by one will receive a lot of resistance from our side. We have seen the government done some appointment. We are reviewing it as a caucus, and in the coming days our position will be made public on that matter. So as a caucus, we are having an engagement and expect our position on this matter soon. We have to evaluate it strongly and very well in the interest of the people of Ghana. So we'll do that.
Let's talk about your relationship with the majority side, because you work with them, but you worked with them as the ranking.
Yes.
Now you are the leader.
Yes.
Yesterday I spoke to Chairman Sabons, and he says, Ato Forson, he's not even my friend. It's more than a brother to me. Should I take it then that this is going to be a walk in the park for you dealing with your majority friends?
As I've said, I've been here for 14 years. Okay, so I came to this house and met him as a minority leader. Obviously, if you work in a place for a while, you build relationship. But that relationship never stopped me from fighting against Ejapa. It doesn't stop me to fight against e-levy, or neither did it stop me from fighting against the 250 million Ghana cedis that was rejected. You agree with me that most of the strongest opposition, if not 90% or more, the strongest opposition this government has had is coming from the Finance Committee. And I was the ranking, and I led it. So, as I said, I'm principled as a person. Even if you are my mother and you do things that are wrong, I will stand up to you and say to you that this is not in the interest of the family. So, we are friends, and we are not only him, we are friends, obviously both sides, we are friends, and you know how politicians, we call ourselves friends, you have a political friends and all of that. It does not stop you from doing your work, and I'll do my work.
There's some concern though, and coincidental that the first day in office was when your case was called.
Yes.
Some look at that and say that may be a hindrance to your ability to do this work and be full frontal in taking on the issues.
Let me tell you something. Nothing can be an impediment to me. There are times I've gone to the court and I've come back and I've led a debate and held press conferences against government. So if there was anything, it will rather strengthen me to deal with the bad governance of this government. This is a government that believes that everybody must be kept mute. So if you stand up against them, they have to find a way to keep you quiet. I'm not that kind of person. And you can agree with me that even the times that I've been in court from 2001, 2002 January, that is the time
so it's been a year.
I've been most vociferous of my political career. So if there's anything, it has rather strengthened me. It has rather gotten me to take the fight to the government. Because, you know, MPP, what they know, what they understand is taking the fight to them. Okay? And I know that I'm not doing this for myself. I'm doing it for the people of Ghana. And I would do it just that.
But it could take you away from the job, time-wise.
Oh, how many times? How many times will it take me away? How many times, how many hours will you spend in a court in a day, even if you go there every day?
But are you concerned that the opponents may use that deliberately to distract you?
I've said to you that I'm so focused that nothing distracts me. One of my hallmarks, extremely focused, nothing distracts me. If it is your spectacle that I want to remove it, until I remove it, I'm not sitting down. So that's me. And I won't do it in an obstructionist manner. I will do it because principle suggests that what you are wearing is bad, and so there's the need for me to take it. And I can assure you.
Just before we wrap up, John Mahama, how involved was he in the process to reshuffle and bring you in? I
think this is purely party position. So nobody should make an attempt to bring President Mahama in. Because as we speak, President Mahama does not have a party position. He's an ex-president on the ticket of the NDC, a member of the Council of Elders of the NDC. So he's not, in quote, the leader of the NDC. He's not a member of the Functional Executive Committee of the NDC or the National Executive Committee of the NDC. His job is different. And so any attempt to bring President Mahama in will be most unfair. He is not involved in day-to-day running of the NDC.
Or was he involved at all in trying to appoint or resolve?
No, I think he came in when the matter became very topical. And you can see from Honorable Muntaka's statement that he invited him, spoke to him, assured him that there's future there for all of us. And so there was the need for him to, move on. And it's clear, it shows exactly what he has to do as an elder of the party.
So that's the extent to his involvement?
That's the extent to his involvement. Nothing more, nothing less. He will be elected soon, I know, for sure. And when that is done, he becomes the leader of the NDC.
I take that as an endorsement of John.
Oh, yes, I don't hide it. I don't hide it. And I'm sure no one in NDC will hide it. We all know that President Mahama presents the best opportunity for NDC to ever come back to office as we speak. My constituency will work for him. I'll work for him myself. And I can hide that. It's a feeling that I can never hide it. Yes.
That's Dr. Cassiel Ato Forson. His work is cut out for him. And as he has explained, his core duty is to help the party win power in 2024. He's laid out this vision, and make of that what you will. I guess we have something to hold him to. We have something we can measure him by for the next, let's say, 2 years. And so we'll be doing that. As and when the issues crop up, we'll reach out to him if he believes he needs to explain a bit more to you, and see if we can get him on again. But I'm grateful.
Thank you.
That you were on. And all the best.
Thank you.
All the best. It's not going to be easy.
No, I agree.
Final lap.
I agree.
Before the 2024 one.
It's going to be a very interesting relay, but I will do just that.
Okay. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you.